southern Lebanon on Thursday amid fears of full-scale war following device explosions that killed at least 37 people in Lebanon.
The Israeli army claims it hit hundreds of rocket launcher barrels ready to be fired by Hezbollah fighters towards Israel. Now, several buildings and a weapons depot belonging to Hezbollah were also bombed in several areas of southern Lebanon.
The strikes began in the afternoon and were carried out in several waves. The Israeli army released footage showing what it claimed to be strikes on Hezbollah launchers and terrorist infrastructure sites.
Smoke and fire were seen rising from the site of an Israeli strike on the southern Lebanese border village of Rehan.
Israel's Defense Minister Yoav Gallant said IDF's actions against Lebanese militant group Hezbollah will continue and that Hezbollah will pay an increasing price as Israel seeks the return of its residents to homes near the Lebanon border.
היעד שלנו הוא להחזיר את תושבי הצפון אל בתיהם בביטחון. ככל שחולף הזמן, חיזבאללה ישלם מחיר הולך וגובר.
The Israeli Air Force jets flew low over Beirut and carried out sonic booms even during a speech by Hezbollah leader Syed Hassan Nasrallah. The mock air raid was the lowest jets had flown over the city since the beginning of the war in October last year. Hezbollah leader Nasrallah, in his televised address, called the device attacks an act of war and vowed to keep up daily strikes on Israel. He said Israel would face tough retribution and just punishment.
وسيواجه بحساب عسير وقصاص عادل من حيث يحتسبون ومن حيث لا يحتسبون. ولكن لأن هذه المعركة الجديدة كانت في أوجه خفية، دعوني اليوم غير الأسلوب، فلا أتحدث لا عن وقت ولا عن شكل ولا عن مكان ولا عن زمان. اتركوا الموضوع والخبر هو ما ترون لا ما تسمعون.
Well, on the other hand, the White House said that U.S. President Joe Biden believes that there can still be a diplomatic resolution to the escalating tensions between Israel and Hezbollah. The U.S. State Department said Hezbollah must stop its attacks against Israel if it wants to ease tensions in the region.
What we want is calm. We want calm for the tens of thousands of Israeli families who've been forced from their homes, and we want calm for the tens of thousands of Lebanese families that have been forced from their homes. Now, look, Nasrallah could stop the terrorist attacks across Israel. And I guarantee you, if he did that, we would be impressing upon Israel the need to maintain calm on their end.
Meanwhile, in a video message addressed to the Lebanese people, French President Emmanuel Macron said Lebanon cannot live in fear of an imminent war and conflict must be avoided.
D'abord, personne n'a intérêt à l'escalade. Ensuite, l'intégrité, la sécurité, la souveraineté du Liban doivent être préservées. Et rien, aucune aventure régionale, aucun intérêt privé, aucune fidélité à quelque cause que ce soit ne mérite de déclencher un conflit au Liban.
UK Foreign Secretary David Lammy called for an immediate ceasefire between Israel and Hezbollah as week of escalation has brought both the sides to the brink of war.
We are all very, very clear that we want to see a negotiated political settlement so that Israelis can return to their homes in northern Israel and indeed Lebanese can return to their homes. And that's why tonight I'm calling for an immediate ceasefire from both sides so that we can get to that settlement, that political settlement that's required.
And well, for more on this, we're now being joined by Colonel David B. Roches from Washington, D.C. He is a West Asia analyst and an associate professor at the Near East South Asia Center for Security Studies. He's joining us live from Washington, D.C. Thank you for joining us on World DNA, Colonel Roches. Now, after the device explosions in Lebanon over the past 2 days, Israel has now conducted airstrikes on Hezbollah targets. While there are heightened tensions, often escalating war in West Asia, I want to seek your assessment. Are we seeing a widening of the war, or in your opinion, has the center of gravity moved northwards away from Gaza right now?
Yeah, well, I think that the latter point is probably true. I think that Israel is engaged in, they still have some large-scale conventional operations in Rafah along the border with Egypt, and they still have to kill the remnants of Hamas's command and control. But most of the Gaza Strip is now in a sort of policing insurgency mode. It's notable that there haven't been any missiles or rockets fired out of Gaza into Israel while this is going on. So that part of the conflict is winding down a little bit. There's not an escalation because Hezbollah and Israel have been exchanging fires pretty much since about a week after the invasion, or a week after the October 7th massacres. What's interesting here is an increase in intensity. And I think that what you're seeing is Israel's determined to force upon Hezbollah, which has openly said they want to make northern Israel uninhabitable. They're going to impress upon Hezbollah that that is too costly for them to continue.
Colonel, do you feel the U.S. has a new task at hand now to achieve some sort of a ceasefire between Israel and Lebanon, because the tensions seem to only be escalating and the frequency of the attacks and counterattacks have only been increasing in recent weeks?
Well, Israel's not fighting Lebanon. They're fighting Hezbollah, which is a group within Lebanon that actually subverts the Lebanese state. Many Lebanese would be very happy if Hezbollah would to go away. But that being said, yeah, this is a difficult task. What complicates it is that Hezbollah is armed and supported by Iran. And Iran views Hezbollah as one of their key guarantors against an Israeli strike against their nuclear facilities. So paradoxically, Iran's role may lead to a de-escalation. If it looks as though Israel might destroy Hezbollah, Iran will tell Hezbollah to agree to a ceasefire because they want to preserve some military capability as a check on Israel striking Iran.
Colonel Roches, I also want to add here that the U.S. Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin has postponed his Israel visit at this point of time, and Washington has emphasized on a diplomatic resolution. But do you think that the U.S. will be backing Israel, because it has not changed its military posture in West Asia after the explosions in Lebanon, if Israel continues to escalate the war on the northern front?
Okay, so again, the United States actually backs the Lebanese state, and we provide military equipment to the Lebanese state, and we actually unusually pay some of the salaries of soldiers in the Lebanese army. That's not who Israel's fighting. I think, though, that Hezbollah is a terrorist organization in the United States. They've been involved in hijackings of American aircraft. They were involved in the attack on the Marine Corps barracks when Marines and Army soldiers deployed to Lebanon to evacuate the Palestinian Liberation Organization. There's no affection for Hezbollah. And the conduct of I think the United States will support Israel, at least initially, in a conflict against Lebanese Hezbollah.
All right, Colonel, thank you so much for sharing all your insights. And you've stressed a great deal on differentiating between Hezbollah and Lebanon. And of course, US, yes. Israel is at war with Hezbollah here. And of course, those tensions have only been rising. We are going to be tracking that closely. Thank you so much for joining in.
Thank you.